Hello everyone, it's Sandra and welcome to today's video. Today I very much feel like I am emulating a candy cane. It's the holiday season, the end of the year is upon us, so I'm just leaning into it, you know? Today's video is going to be about empties. It's going to be my last empties video of the year and it's solely focused on makeup. So I'm going to be showing you a lot of the makeup products that I have used up over the last several months. And with that, I thought I would also tie it into wrapping up my Project Pan. And if you're not familiar with what Project Pan is, it's something that's been going on in the makeup community for a very long time. It's something that I've been doing for the last few years. It's a very flexible thing, and it's basically just focusing on using up a certain amount of makeup, certain number of products. What I like to do is at the beginning of every year, I try to set up a little goal for myself. I choose 10 makeup products that I will focus on using up for the year. And it's just a nice effort to kind of get us, you know, better acquainted with the products that we use. It's a fun challenge because you realize how, I don't know, you get to really become really familiar with certain products. You end up fine-tuning your taste and your preference along the way. And it also helps, for me personally, it helps keep me a bit more focused and I don't get so lost and so distracted by new releases, because Lord knows as time goes on, I feel like there are more and more new brands, more and more new launches, and it's tempting and distracting, and you know, makeup and beauty is a lot of fun. But I've also learned to kind of train myself to also gain a lot of fun and satisfaction in using up products that I already have. So with that being said, let's get started. I'm going to just kind of go in order of application, I guess. I'm going to start with foundations. I used up the Surratt Dewdrop foundation. This was in my Project Pan and I'm so happy that I used this up because I really did not like this foundation. It just did not work didn't work well on my skin. I don't know why, because a lot of people really love this foundation and I really wanted to love this foundation, but it just didn't do it for me. It did not wear well on my skin, and I have a lot of texture and I just found that it wasn't flattering on my texture. It didn't, you know, my skin is combination oily and it just broke down. Didn't love it, but I did manage to use it up by mixing it in with one of my favorite foundations, Lancome Teint Idole. So that's kind of how I was able to use it up. Just kind of make my own little concoction, and I ended up using it up, but I would not repurchase because this unfortunately did not work well for me. Another Project Pan foundation that I used up earlier in the year was the Surratt Surreal Skin foundation wand. I also did not like that foundation. That foundation had more coverage than this, and again, it just did not wear well on my skin at all. Just did not like it, but I was able to use that up again by mixing it in with other stuff. The other Project Pan 2021 item that I used up this year was the Sisley Tinted Moisturizer, the Phyto Hydra Teint Tinted Moisturizer. I had this in shade number 1. This was okay. It was nice, but it wasn't nice enough to warrant a repurchase. I have tinted moisturizers in my collection that I like better than this. It was fine. I'm glad I got to try it. You know, I'm glad I got to use it and enjoy it. It did make my skin look nice. It was nice, but you know what I mean? Is it worth the Sisley price point? No, not for this particular product. So those are the Project Pan foundations that I used up. And then on top of that, I also used up these 3 foundations. This is a Giorgio Armani cushion, the Giorgio Armani Essence In Foundation Cushion, one of my all-time favorite foundations. I feel like I go through one of these every year. This is just a little refill. It's a little refillable compartment, which I can appreciate. Unfortunately, this is hard to find in North America, especially the refills, especially in my shade, which is 4.5. But sometimes I find it online on Selfridges. Sometimes I just ask my friends that live in Europe to buy it and send it to me. But love this, and another one bites the dust. I also used up the Dior Face and Body. This is one of my all-time favorite foundations. This is the second bottle that I've gone through and I love it. This is in the shade 2WO, which is a perfect summer shade for me. I will definitely be repurchasing this. Probably just gonna wait until next summer to repurchase. This is incredible, especially in the summertime when my skin tends to be more oily. It just sets beautifully, has a really, really nice lasting power. It can be worn, it's like a sheer to medium buildable foundation, and my skin just loves this. This just wears, every single time I wear it, I'm so happy with how my makeup looks and wears, and love this stuff. I also used up my Chanel Water Fresh tint. Again, this is one of the best light coverage skin tint types of products I've ever tried. It's also a very unique product because it's really, really sheer. I mean, it's barely any coverage. It's like a whisper of a tint, but it still has this beautiful ability to give my skin a soft focus finish. It's like my skin, but better. And it gives a glow without making me feel greasy or oily, and it wears nicely throughout the day. I find that so many of these skin tint, tinted moisturizer type products are geared towards people with more normal skin or drier skin. They're not really designed for those of us with oilier skin types, so they don't really have the best longevity, but this is one of the few exceptions. And actually one of my favorite combinations is this with the Pat McGrath foundation. It was such an amazing combination. I definitely see myself repurchasing this at some point. Again, I do have other stuff that I would like to use up first before I repurchase, but I really did enjoy this. And this was like an excellent summer, no makeup type of product for me, like the type of product that I would reach for on a good skin day. All right, next up, let's talk powders. I had two powders in my project pan. The first is the Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. This is the mini size. And then the other one was the Sisley HD Blurring Powder. I used up the Laura Mercier. I am still working on the Sisley, so I'm going to have to carry this on over into next year. This is more of like a touch-up powder for me, a great like on-the-go type of product, and with the pandemic still raging on, I haven't really been that on the go this year, so I haven't really used this as much as I would have probably in a regular year. And with the Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder, I mean, it's a classic. I liked it, but I don't love it. I have other loose powders that I like better. And then I also used up my Giorgio Armani Neo Nude powder. This was in the shade 5.5, and this was a really great all-over setting powder type of product for me. Very similar to the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish Natural, like that kind of vibe. So in the summertime, I can use this all over my face, even just by itself, just for a hint of coverage. This is almost like the powder version of the Chanel skin tint. Unfortunately, this is now discontinued, and Armani has brought out a luminous silk powder that looks identical to this in terms of packaging, but it's not identical in terms of formula. The new version, the luminous silk powder, is a lot more luminous, and that's more of like, I don't know if it's not really a highlighter, but it's also not, I mean, I personally wouldn't put it all over my face. Sad to see this go because this was an amazing powder. You might be able to get some stragglers on random websites or at counters, but I think this is gone. Next up, I used up 3 concealers. None of these were in my project pan. I just used them up. And I really enjoyed all of them, actually. The Maybelline Superstay Full Coverage Under Eye Concealer. This is a really great drugstore alternative to something like the Tarte Shape Tape or the Too Faced Born This Way, like the concealer that they make in the thick bottle. So if you like those, check this out because I found it actually really, really comparable. I used to use this I had this in 2 shades. The first one I used up was in like a medium, like a light medium shade. And then I had the shade light that I used more just like in the center, more just in the inner corner for some brightening, but this was good. Also used up the Clarins Everlasting Concealer. This was also in the shade, this is the shade light medium. Again, really nice fuller coverage concealer. And then I used up the Giorgio Armani Power Fabric Concealer. This is one of my favorite concealers. It's a really great all-over concealer. It works well under the eyes, works well on blemishes, works well just on its own without any foundation. Really, really love this. And then this year I discovered the Lancome Teint Idole Ultra Concealer, which is essentially the same thing. They have a very, 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 very similar ingredients list. So and they perform very, very similarly as well. I think if I was really, really nitpicky, I would say that the Power Fabric Concealer is a little bit more emollient, maybe a tiny bit better suited for under eye use if you have a drier under eye area, whereas the Lancome Teint Idole had a little bit better longevity, better staying power, but both very, very comparable formulas, and the Lancome, you get double the product for less money. Next, let's talk bronzers and blush. I had 2 bronzers in my project pan, one of which I finished up earlier this year. It was the Clarins SOS priming, like bronzing primer that I just used as a liquid bronzer. That was great. And then I also had the Lilah B Bronzer, which I'm not finished with yet, but almost. I'm on the last leg, so I will be carrying this over into 2022 project pan, and hopefully it will be, hopefully I'll use it up. But that's the bronzer update. And then I had these 2 blushes. I had the Tarte blush in the shade Exposed. I've had this in my project pan, I think ever since I started doing project pan. I've had this blush for so many years, and it has consistently been one of my most used blushes, and it was like the blush that wouldn't die until this year. I finally used this up, and let me tell you, when it got to the bitter end, when it was just like a thin little rim left at the edge, I was using this as eyeshadow, like every day, even if, you know, I wasn't really wearing eyeshadow, I was just kind of sweeping a little bit in the crease just to say that I used this. So finally used this up. I feel like it took me, I feel like the lady in the Titanic, you know, it's been 84 years. That's me with this blush. And then I also used up my Bobbi Brown Pot Rouge in the shade Powder Pink. I love this too. This lasted a lot longer than I thought it would, but I really did focus on using this up so much. I was using this on my lips. I was using this on my cheeks consistently, because with cream products especially, I do like to focus a bit more on using them up when I know that it's an older product, because they do go bad quicker than powder products. Never say never, I might repurchase this at some point, but I feel like I've kind of scratched the itch with my Tower 28 cream blushes. So these are the cream blushes that I'm loving right now. Also used up the Armani Neo Nude. This was like a liquid blush. Came with a little wand. This product, I liked it, but I would not repurchase, just because it's the type of blush product that looks really good. It's like a no makeup type of product, and if you're somebody that doesn't wear foundation on a regular basis, you're more of like a concealer, mascara, brow gel kind of girl, you would probably like this. It's like a sheer, transparent, like whisper of blush. And the blush that kind of replaced this in my collection, especially in terms of color, so I had this in shade 51. I wonder if I can scoop out, what if I could scoop some out just so I can do like a tiny little swatch for you. So this was the color. Like a really nice punchy coral pink, shade 51. Blends out really, really beautifully, really, really easily. So again, like if you are a minimal makeup girl, you will love this on your cheeks. Like it's beautiful. It blends out so easily. But the blush that has kind of taken its place in my collection is from Rose Inc. This was sent to me in PR, and I like it so much more than I thought I would. It's in the shade Azalea. This is it, and I'm actually wearing this today on my cheeks and a little bit on my lips. I love wearing this formula on the lips. It actually feels like a substantial lipstick. Azalea by Rose Inc is a bit more punchy, and it layers nicer. Like I'm able to wear this with a fuller face of makeup, and I love this on the lips. It actually feels like a nice lipstick. It almost reminds me of the Bite Beauty Amuse Bouche lipsticks. Remember those? Next, moving on to actual lip products. I had one lip product in my project pan, and I still haven't used this up. It's embarrassing. I thought this would be the year for me, but nope. Still have a little bit of a little nub of the Charlotte Tilbury Matte Revolution lipstick in the shade Bond Girl. This has been renamed. It's now called Mi Kiss. But it's good to know that Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks can go on for many years without going bad, because this still smells just as delicious as it smelled when I first bought it. So thank you, preservatives. It's a great lipstick, honestly. I think the reason why I haven't used this up yet is because I like to wear this most dabbed on instead of swiped on. So when I dab it on, it's just a little bit of pigment. So I just don't use it up as quickly. We'll be carrying on into the next project pan. So this I'm still working on, but I did use up these two Givenchy lip balms. What are these called? I feel like they have a long name. The name is not that long. One of them is called Le Rouge Perfecto in the shade Perfect Pink. This was like, it's essentially Givenchy's version of Dior Lip Glow. Nice like pink, self-adjusting, like pH adjusting lip balm. Really nice lip balm. Love the packaging. I feel like the packaging of Givenchy lipsticks is so chic. I really like it. It has this like pink leather. I wish these were refillable because the packaging is so beautiful. Like you have leather, you have this stunning metallic design. And the other one I used up was called Le Rose Perfecto. This was more of like a lipstick formula. This was in the shade Solar Red, I think it was called, shade number 302. This was a really beautiful orangey red, and I loved wearing this summer. I mean, I generally in the summer, I mean, I've had this for, again, 4 years maybe. It's a product that I would reach for in spring and summer to just give me like the most beautiful matte, sheer, orangey red lip. It's really pretty, not drying. I used up a Marc Jacobs lash primer. This was a really nice volumizing lash primer. Rest in peace, Marc Jacobs Beauty. But I also discovered the Peripera Lash Fixer Primer. This is amazing, an amazing primer if you are looking for something that will help hold your curl. My lashes do not hold a curl. I do need a separate eye makeup remover. I usually just use the Clarins waterproof eye makeup remover or the La Roche-Posay one. Then like a quick fire mascara review. Used up two Glossier Lash Slicks. This used to be one of my favorite mascaras ever because it's one of the few mascaras that I was able to use without it smudging. But again, since I've discovered that Peripera Lash Primer, smudging and holding a curl is no longer an issue. I can just use that with any mascara and I kind of get the smudge prevention. Lancome, the Lash Idole mascara. This is my favorite mascara that I've discovered this year. I loved it. Such a good all-rounder. It gives really nice length, separation, and volume. I love this and I will repurchase. The Clarins Wonder Perfect mascara was good, just like a good volumizing mascara. The Clarins Supra Long and Curl mascara, I actually like this better. Nice lifting and volumizing mascara. The Givenchy, what was this called? The Givenchy Black Disturbia mascara. This was really good volumizing and lash separating mascara, but it dried out really quickly. After like 2 weeks, it wasn't as good anymore, and that's not acceptable for a luxury price point. The Laura Mercier Caviar Volume Mascara, I absolutely hated this. This did nothing for me. And then the Sisley So Stretch Mascara. This was good. This actually got better with time. Beautiful lengthening mascara. But I can't say it was better than Lancome Lash Idole. This was the best for me. And finally, let's talk brow pens. I used up the Ardell Stroke a Brow Pen and the Anastasia Brow Pen this year. And these were nice, but this year I also discovered the NYX Brow Pen, which is my favorite. So I will not be repurchasing these. We'll be repurchasing the NYX. I actually have it in two colors. I use both of them actually. I have the shade Gray Black and the shade Ash Brown. So usually I do Ash Brown at the start of my brows and then I do Gray Black in the middle and the end. And I feel like this year my brow routine has been, it's been very extra, but I've also been really happy with it. So love these. Those are the current brow pens that are my favorites. So that wraps up this Empties video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And I'll be checking in with Project Pan 2022 sometime in January. Until then, I'll see you soon in a new video. Again, thanks for hanging out. Hope you're having a beautiful day and I'll talk to you later. Bye.